Hello! This is the second part of my Bdellium SFX brushes review. I'm going to show you a look I'm going to create with these brushes. The one that I was most excited about is the Special Effects muscle brush. So what came to mind is something, the thigh is quite a large area to work, so I was like, if I can do the muscle definition on the thighs, can look at anatomical drawings of how the thigh muscle is put together, and then to use the Sculpt Gel to create the skin and then the fatty layer underneath the skin, and then do the muscle as flat makeup, showing off what the muscle brush in particular can do, but also using the dagger brush for blending and the veining brush to do details, and then I also use the splatter brush to match skin tones and do some of the blood splatter as well. Okay, so let's start by mapping out what we're going to do. So, my tear, let's say, do it on this leg. So let's go from about here. If you want it to look more like an injury, the dissection you could have the straight lines. If you want to do more like an injury, you might want to have more jagged lines. Actually make this more like something that comes up like this. Some Sculpt Gel. So first of all, I'm going to use some part A. Actually use this for a while. I'm going to apply my flesh coloured Sculpt Gel around the wound, or along the lines that I've already drawn on, and then I'm going to blend it outwards to try and create a seamless edge. Now with my tool I'm sharpening the inside edge just by taking the blunt edge and dragging it along, collecting up the Sculpt Gel to create more of an exaggerated sharp edge on the inside. Now I'm going to use clear Mouldlife Sculpt Gel silicone. I'm going to add some silicone pigments of white and yellow in there to get a fatty light colour. I'm going to place some under the skin fat amongst my wound. I end up adding flesh tone or skin tone, I can't remember what it's called, Mouldlife silicone pigment, because the yellow was just too bright, so I added some skin tone as well. And I'm going to place the fatty layer just on the inside of the skin. And what I'm going to do is, while it's setting up and curing, I'm going to continually press the spatula into it so that it will kind of spread out and flatten out and smooth out and become shiny if you leave it by itself. So I'm going to continually press the spatula into it to try and get this more fatty-like texture to it. I'm going to apply a shine eliminator because silicone is pretty shiny, doesn't look like skin. And now I'm using a random fan brush to try and get a layer down of an olive adjuster to try and make the purple Sculpt Gel match my skin, which has more olive undertones, using Skin Illustrator's Flesh Tones palette. And then I decide that I'm going to use the splatter brush because if you splatter the tones across, it's going to look more like skin, whereas just one shade is going to look kind of strange. So I splatter a few different tones to try and match my skin tone. And now I'm taking the rose adjuster and I've diluted it quite greatly with isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to pat on with my finger this rose adjuster around the outside to make it look kind of red and inflamed. I'm going to start with white on the veining brush to fill in the part closest to the kneecap and bring up that central line. And once that's done, I'm going to use a muscle brush with a blood tone to start laying down the muscle fibers. And I'm trying to pay attention to the way the muscle fibers are in the anatomical drawing that I'm looking at and copy that direction with the brush. Now I'm going in with the dried blood tone to do another layer with a darker blood colour. Now I'm using the medium dagger brush and I'm mixing the dried blood colour with the black. I'm going to use that to start to shade in the areas that are meant to be recessed and underneath to try and create more of a 3D look. And I'm using the dagger brush because it's good for blending out and little detail work. I'm going to be focusing mostly on that outer edge to try and make it look three-dimensional, the outside being darker and then the highlighted areas being more central. So I'm using it on its side to kind of blend out that colour and create a gradient. Now I'm back using the blood tone, and I'm just going to go through and redefine some of those muscle fibers using the dagger brush. And I'm going to go over the white part and try and make it look more connected to the rest of the piece. And I'm going back in with white. Try and blend it all together. And now I'm using the veining brush. And I'm using the veining brush with white to kind of put some highlight areas down the center. Can see me thinking, where should I put this? I'm going back in with pure black, and this is on the veining brush, adding black to the outer corners to try and make it look like it's more receded underneath where the skin layer ends. I'm going to put it around the muscle that's supposed to be on top as well to make it look more like it is on top of the rest of it. Just putting a really light, quite translucent black wash. I'm using the dagger brush with black again, and this time to kind of blend it all out, have more of a gradient. Now I've got a cotton tip and I've just put some isopropyl alcohol to get all of the colours that I've just placed down off the yellow fatty tissue bit, so that still looks like it's on top of everything. Now I'm going to go back in with the muscle brush and some blood red to go back over those lines and redefine them. Now I've got the dried blood colour, I'm going over it with the dried blood mostly on the edges to create a deeper and darker edge. Now we've got the dagger to blend it out, and now back to the muscle brush with the white to do some more highlighting. Back with the dagger brush and dried blood to create more depth around the edge of the muscle. Now that the paint job is done and dried, I'm going to apply a layer of KY jelly over it to give a really gooey, wet look. Now I'm using the splatter brush and some Mouldlife Kensington Gore aged blood to splatter the blood around the outside. I'm using the veining brush to kind of paint the blood in layers around the edge, the outer edge. And it was at this point that my camera card got full and stopped recording, but I just continued placing blood around the outside and smudging it with my fingers, splattering it a bit more, and this is a final effect. The silicone's quite flexible and moves well. And these are some photos that I took with my DSLR. This is a phone camera pic, because I didn't get any standing up with the DSLR. I thought standing up it looks pretty cool. This is the effect without the Sculpt Gel, just the paint job.